Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Starsector. This is episode 14 of this playthrough where we are playing as a vicious pirate captain. And over the last few episodes we have managed to knock out the Persean League, and we will be seeing the end of another faction in this episode as well. But at the moment we are looking for a world to take control of, and we have captured a bunch of planets and stations for the pirate faction, so I thought we would come in here to Gazeron, which used to be the Persean League homeworld, and see if we could take it over as a governor. So we will talk to the war boss in charge here, and unfortunately we're not able to purchase the governorship here because it's too large a market. I think we can only purchase governorships for colonies which are size 4 or below. So we're going to have a quick look and see if there are any other viable options. So looking through the list of planets, we could technically try to invade and take over any of them, including this tri-type world that they established outside of the core. We have this pirate world Garnier, but it's not a particularly great planet. It would be kind of neat to take over Canny, as that was our home base for most of this playthrough so far, but with a 200% hazard rating, it's not going to be a profitable place. This is just a station. Again, this one has an even higher hazard rating. Now, Adolf may be a possibility. It has +2 transplatonics and +2 in ore. And a 175 hazard rating is bad, but it's not terrible, so we may go and check it out. It's in a system that now has 4 pirate colonies, so we wouldn't have to spend too much effort protecting it. And there is actually an invasion from the Luddic Church coming into Adolf, so maybe a good idea to go and defend it, and then we can see if we want to take it over. Looks like the outcome of this invasion is uncertain, so there is a chance the Luddic Church could capture it, and we would like to stop them doing that. We'll pick up a mission here, and then we will just quickly pop out to Canny and see if we can get some more missions there, and then we'll head over to Adolf in Westerness. We are still being notified about rebellions in the worlds that we've captured for the pirates, but the pirate worlds do seem to be able to deal with them. I think that helps that we dropped off marines and weapons for them so that they can maintain their grip on these systems. Okay, here we are coming into our old home base of Canny, and we will be calling in on our contacts and seeing if they have any missions for us. We will accept this disrupt mission and this bounty. And then if we check out the comms directory, we can talk to the war boss here, and they will allow me to purchase governorship of Canny, but looking at this, it's going to cost me half the money I have, and this colony is losing a huge amount of money, so I think it's probably not the best one to go for. We will check out our criminal contacts, see if they have any work for us. There's another spaceport disruption which we will take. So this guy has a spy sat deployment mission and a secret package delivery for us. We will take both of them. We may not do them, but if we find ourselves in a convenient location to do them quite quickly, we will go ahead and do that. So here we are coming into Westerness. We're going to drop through this gravity well, and you can already see this fleet coming in. Now this one says it's engaging Fickenhill station, which is not what I expected. I thought they were attacking Athol. We will go ahead and intercept them anyway. There's a second fleet over here. Both fleets are sporting a lot of dominators, but this first one they have mostly S-mods, and the second fleet they were mostly D-mods. So we will go in and take in a kind of standard fleet for us, which is the Astral, Odyssey and Frigate backup. So we are coming in here piloting the Odyssey, sending our Tempest off to capture points. Decided to edit the battles a bit differently in this episode, and I've cut out all my movements in the strategic view, just really to keep the pace up. I will still try to talk my way through what I'm doing. And actually this battle is kind of in 2 stages. In the first stage I'm just kind of rushing in without thinking and getting in trouble, and then when I decide to play a little bit more intelligently I get much better results. I managed to break through this little Lasher's shield at long distance and do some damage to him. He does actually manage to get away, but the unshielded Buffalo Mark II is less fortunate. We're just going to bash his corpse out of the way. And see here, we've got a Mora carry, which is a priority target. And other than that, it's mostly Dominators and Lashers. And Dominators are extremely dangerous if you get in front of them. Lashers not so much, we should be able to take care of them without too much trouble. And we're not in a bad position at the moment, but we really should have turned here just a little bit earlier to get our weapons to bear. Fire off a volley of sabres, and now we make a mistake of rushing a little bit too far forward. We do overload the first Dominator, but now we have 3 others, and we are right in their sights, which is a very dangerous place to be. We are taking a lot of fire here and having to block it on our shield. We do get overloaded. I think I was slightly distracted there, but I do manage to back away. And really it was the Tempest that came in there and saved me by distracting the Dominators. The Mora on the bottom left, however, has been very severely damaged. I think he must have been hit with a torpedo barrage from the Astral. He does manage to overload our little hammerhead though with his saber missiles. Tempest come in immediately and back him up, so he does manage to get away with his life. I did bring in 3 destroyers, 2 Medusas and the little hammerhead. Hammerhead is supposed to stay at range, that's what he's kitted for. It's the Medusas I would like to go in there with their heavy blasters and their point defense lasers and soak up damage. Now the Dominators have got me in a bit of a kill zone here. I'm going to have to back away with my shield down to save being overloaded. We managed to overload the Mora and he gets taken out with another volley from the Astral. And I have to say those 16 Atropos torpedoes on the Trident bombers from the Astral are probably the best finisher I've seen in this game, at least outside of mods. Now we can see the Dominators have become separated a little bit. This one on the left is now vulnerable. And now, as if to prove my point, here comes another volley from the Trident bombers. And they do destroy the first Dominator. But again, we're having to back away from his buddies with their firepower. The Odyssey is a big ship, but it can't tank fire as well as other capital ships. So we don't want to be here, we want to get away from this. Again, we're having to take damage. Okay, now what we're going to try and do is what we should have done at the beginning, which is to use our speed to flank their line formation and get on the side of it. Because 1 Dominator's firepower is a lot easier to tank than 3 of them, and once they're isolated, they're vulnerable. And here, our sabres hit at just the perfect point. Atropos torpedoes come in, once it gets overloaded, and then we manage to finish it up with the Hurricane and the Tachyon rounds. So that's 2 down. This little Lasher needs to back away, and we also have a Kite on our offside. And we're taking him down pretty much just with our point defense lasers and some saber missiles. He gets destroyed. This 3rd Dominator has also been overloaded. We are dealing the damage with our lasers. Hurricane goes in, taking it down to a sliver of health, and then we finish it off with our beam weapons. 4th Dominator now, much more vulnerable as he's on his own. We can get right in his face and hit him with missiles. We want to drive up his flux while keeping ours quite low, so we're flicking our shield on and off here, accepting some damage. Medusa supporting us. Sabres again knock him out, and then we are just waiting for our final Hurricane to finish him off. There it goes. Boom. We see the 5th Dominator for a second before it's taken out by more torpedoes. And then the 6th and final Dominator is now being surrounded by Medusas and Tempest frigates. His Lasher and Mule support has been destroyed, and at this point the Dominator is starting to resemble a tortoise on his back, unable to move, unable to attack, just waiting for the inevitable conclusion. So first battle of this episode has been won. We will chase after their support ships. And we could spend a story point to recover a Tempest, but I don't think it's worth it. Take our salvage, and we will go after the other fleet. On our way, however, we are actually going to bump into a 3rd fleet. This one a lot more serious. It looks like a hegemony kill fleet to me, and we are going to run the hell away from them. Because 3 onslaughts might be doable, but 3 onslaughts with a lot of S-mods is a little bit too much of a risk. So we're going to pop into Athelfir. This was the colony that was due to get attacked. I'm not too sure if we have seen the end of that invasion, or it looks like actually those 2 fleets bumped into each other. And here is the Ludwig Church invasion fleet. The other one must have been Hegemony. I think we'll take these guys on. They have a lot of Dominators, but they all have demods, so we should be fine. I think I'm going to pilot a champion. Partly this is just for variety, but I do like flying the champions, and this one has been fitted out to be a kind of close combat brawler, which is always fun. We are supporting it with a Conquest, an Astral, and some Tempest frigates, and then a monitor, which we will just set to escort the Astral and give it a little bit more survivability. As I said, the champion has been fitted out for close quarters combat, so it has antimatter blasters, ion cannons, an autopulse laser, hammer barrage, and some assault chain guns to shred armor. The assault chain guns don't get to make use of the high energy focus, but they are just so effective in close range that I thought it was worth it. So we're just waiting for our other ships to get into position before we attack. We have a lot of unshielded Buffalo Mark IIs, we have a Mule or two, a lot of missiles coming in to us at the moment, but we have the point defense that can deal with it, particularly the Medusas and Tempests. Astral bombers going in for a run. You can see Hurricanes coming in from the Conquest. I'm going to take on this first Buffalo Mark II. It takes about a second to destroy it. The other thing I quite like about the champion is if you keep all its front-facing weapons on auto, it has enough turrets that it can engage multiple targets at once. Another Buffalo goes down in a split second. Now here come the Dominators, and there's also an Enforcer and a couple of Lashes. So all low tech, all demodded. As you can see here, we're taking on the Enforcer and the Lasher at once. Take down the Lasher nice and quickly. Enforcer takes a little bit longer, but he's just forced to sit there. He fires back, he's at too much danger of being overloaded. I'm now getting into a bit of a dangerous position myself, but as you can see, the champion's shield is not bad, standing up against two Dominators. That Enforcer on the left-hand side explodes. And now we're just waiting for our Conquest to come in from the left-hand side. Distracting that Dominator, we can take on this one. And we're getting into a bit of a attrition battle with it, so we're going to back off and move in again. Hammer torpedo barrage does a heap of damage, and we can see missiles coming in from the Astral. Here comes some more Hurricanes, but they're a bit late. Not too sure why the Conquest didn't fire at his target. Maybe he was trying to steal my kill, and maybe I stole his. Another Lasher destroyed, and that's their first line defeated. We've got more Enforcers and Dominators coming in from the top, taking their time to get to battle. There's three of them trying to form a line here, along with two Enforcers. Don't want to get into their kill zone, so we're going to back away again. Actually get overloaded there. It's a bit foolish. I'm just trying to maneuver into a better position. Okay, here we go now. We can get on the side of the line formation that they're trying to make. Again, we're going to take a lot of flux damage, but this time we did manage to turn our shield off in time. Here comes a torpedo volley. Next Dominator has been separated from his friends. He's got one behind him, but that's not going to help. Taking a bunch of ion damage. He does manage to overload the Tempest, but Tempest can get away nice and easily. And now we can come in with our own ion cannons, antimatter blasters, chain guns, autopulse lasers, and a hammer barrage. And we can take this guy out nice and quickly. Medusa's lending a hand. The rest of our fleet has overloaded this next Dominator. We just need to get around this derelict. And he does get out of his overload just in time. We make another mistake, which we really shouldn't be doing anymore. We should be learning not to sit in front of Dominators. Luckily we were able to get away and finally get a kill on that one. Just speed up the end of the battle here. A couple of Enforcers trying to fight a defensive retreat. Dominator taken out by torpedoes. And the final one come in with more torpedoes, more missiles. And that's the end of that fleet. Okay, we will very quickly go after their cargo ships. We weren't able to delegate to our first mate, so we're going to do this one quite fast with Hyperions. And really this is just a race to see who can get the kills. We've got Wolves, Colossus freighters, Buffalo freighters, oil tankers, and even a couple of Atlases, which would be nice to capture. And at the end here we do see at least one task is going completely out of control, which is always fun. So it looks like the invasion has failed. We managed to see them off. We gained ourselves 40,000 and we will just retake control of this nav boy. And I think we're going to head back into Azulf now. We will repair our damage and then I think we're going to talk to the war boss and go ahead and purchase a governorship here. It's going to cost me 270,000, but at least this market is making an income. So hopefully it will be not too difficult to keep it profitable. And we have not taken this over for ourselves. It's still not our world, it's still a pirate owned world, but we are acting as governor. And I think that means we can extract some profit for ourselves. Or on the other hand, we will have to pay if it loses money. So this is the colony screen. I'm not going to spend too long explaining this. There are plenty of guides out there on how to run colonies, and I'm not going to be spending a lot of effort making this one into a profitable world. I am going to try and get some growth though, and the only way really to do that is to provide hazard pay. I'm also going to open up to a free port status, which will lower the stability but will make a bit more money for us. And then we're going to look into what we can do here to make money. We have transplutonic ore and we have regular ore, and we already have a mining industry set up with a spaceport. We're probably going to want to upgrade that to a megaport, which will increase access and should make it easier to make a profit. It's not cheap and it will take a few months, but I think it is worth it in the end. We will also eventually want to get a refining industry in here, but for now I think the first priority is to build some ground defences and a way station. Ground defences so that the colony can defend itself, and the way station just to increase accessibility for the system as a whole. We're also going to turn on the ability to use stockpiles in case we run out of anything, and we will store all of our weapons. Some things we don't need here. There's a couple of blueprints here which I'm actually going to just learn, and then we will also drop off some of our ships that we don't need to be taken with us. And given that we now govern this world, we don't have to pay to store anything here, so that will at least reduce our costs in one respect. We are off. We can see there is an invasion coming in on another pirate world. That's Yama in the Naraka system, and I think that is the world we took in the hegemony system, just because we wanted to complete a mission, so we might just let that one go. I'm not yet ready to fight the hegemony on a large scale, so we will let them take back that world if they want it. Right now we are heading off to complete a couple of quick missions, looking out for targets as we go. There's a salvage fleet, mercantile convoy, but I don't think it's worth taking on. We're heading to Norcia in the Asconia system. And we actually have another mission to complete in Volturn, which is the final Syndrian world, but their large picket has in fact seen us immediately and we're going to have to run away. And actually I noticed something, that planet we just passed, Volturn, has deteriorated into anarchy. And I believe this means it may be possible for us to take it over without a battle. And that might be the end of the Syndrian Dictat if that does happen. We're going to pop into Norcia here. We've actually got 6,000 transplutonics, which I'm going to sell for not the great price, but I don't want to carry them around anymore. And we will go ahead and disrupt the spaceport here. And we will complete a quick mission for there, get some 100,000 credits. This mercantile colony has decided to follow us, so I think we will just take it on. Why not? We can give some experience to our first mate, and we'll just send in the Eagles and Falcons and see what they have. Nothing too good, but it was more or less free. So now we're going to come in here and launch a raid to get some supplies and maybe a bit of fuel. So now we are going to try and see if we can get into Volturn before it destabilizes. We have some heavy armaments to drop off there, but it may not be possible as we are not exactly flying a stealthy fleet and they're probably going to see us coming in. And in fact here they are. So we're going to get intercepted here. I'm quite happy to fight them, but if they will let me go I will also do that. No, they want to fight, so we'll take the champion in again. A couple of champions this time with some frigate and destroyer support. And we've also brought in a Doom just for fun. Okay, here comes the enemy. We've got a couple of basic Falcons to start off with, along with a broader gunship and some smaller frigates. The Doom is dropping lots of mines. We actually take a hit from a mine ourselves. We'll take out this gunship nice and quick. We've got hammerheads, falcons and enforcers on our right. Doom mines are going to explode and take out this hammerhead if we don't get there first. Falcon on the right side is getting mobbed. The Doom on the battlefield just makes everything so much deadlier for the enemy, but you do have to be careful you don't run into their bombs yourself. Now we get to their heavy hitters, their 2 dominators, maybe 3 dominators actually. And the Doom rematerializes right in front of me at the worst possible time. That's the downside of having a Doom. If we are able to isolate and destroy these dominators, we shouldn't face too much trouble from the rest of this fleet. And again, the autopods driving up the flux, our barrage going in, and the Doom mines helping to take down their hull. And that Doom is also equipped with Reapers. We're getting tagged by this lasher a little bit, so we're just going to follow him down. Looks like he's going to die to this mine. And we can get behind this Dominator and just pepper him with our chain guns and iron cannons. We don't have the killing blow of the Astral with us today, but we didn't really need it. Final enemy Falcon goes down. That's another Sinjin fleet defeated. I don't think they have many fleets left, to be honest. I believe they only have the one world left, which is Volturn. Now we're never going to be able to get in there and unload our heavy armaments now, having been in quite a public battle outside of their orbit, but we will go in anyway, just to raid them and get some supplies and fuel. Now we could engage the station actually. If we do that, it will make it easier to do the raid afterwards. So I think we'll take in 3 capital ships, 2 Medusas, and a couple of monitors. Do we want to take an extra carrier? Now I think we will take in a heavy cruiser, the Eagle, for some additional fire support, and a couple of omens for point defense. Now this is a small station, it shouldn't be too much of a threat, but we will have to be careful, even with 3 capital ships. He's already sending out his fighters to engage us. We don't think this station has any mines, which is good. Our fighters engaging theirs. It has a lot of missiles, but we have great point defense on this fleet, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, the Conquest captain opens up with a couple of useless hurricanes. There's no sense firing them into shields, especially the shields of a station. And he fires 2 more, great. Why don't you fire your sabos first, mate? Okay, that's better. He has now fired his sabos, but a little bit late. We are going to try and get around to the other side of the station so that we can maintain constant pressure. Massive volley of torpedoes coming in from the Astral overloads this station on one side, and sabos from the Conquest on the other side, but we are unable to do damage to the overloaded section. We need to be a little bit faster. We sent off a hurricane, but the shield had come back online just in time. More torpedoes coming in, overloading the other side. Again, we want to get around there nice and quick so we can get our beam weapons to bear and fire a hurricane. We are going to manage to finish off that half. Astral is suppressing with its multiple rocket launcher. Here comes some more torpedoes. And more hurricanes and torpedoes to finish it off. And I think the speed that we took that station down really demonstrates the effectiveness of this fleet, especially against big targets like that. So we will prepare an orbital bombardment and then launch a raid. It should now be not too difficult for us to get quite a lot of supplies. Oh, maybe not. Okay, I'm guessing they are almost out of supplies then, considering how little we were able to get from that. And so I think we will just wait a day and then go back in and invade. So there are 6 sectors. We will send off our marines and then we will head off. We actually have a bounty we'd like to complete within the next 10 days, and it would be good if we can do it because it's quite a significant payout. It means taking on a couple of onslaughts. One of them is 14th battle group. We can capture that. That would be fun. But if not, it's still, I think, a worthwhile bounty to go after. We're going to have to be quick though. In the background you can hear our invasion continuing. Now we're not going to have much time to be stealthy when searching for this bounty. We're going to have to hope we find it pretty quickly. And here you can see we have completely decivilized Volturn. So that means we didn't actually take it with our invasion force, but we managed to collapse the remains of their civilization, and it's now fallen completely into anarchy, which means we should be able to take it back into our own faction quite easily. It also means the Sinjun Dictat has lost their last stronghold, and their ambitions in the sector are clearly over. What a shame. So that's the Persean League and the Sinjun Dictat taken down. 2 more factions remain. Okay, here's our bounty. He has friends rushing to support him, but hopefully we can get to him before they catch up. There's also an invasion fleet in the background, but we can probably ignore that for now. That may be the invasion set to retake Yama. So another battle, this time against the hegemony. We're going to take in, I think, just the 2 capital ships with frigate support. And we will perform our standard opening, capturing points with our Tempests, getting the Monitor to protect the Astro, and sending the Odyssey ahead to engage the enemy. We've actually got an Omen and a Monitor supporting us as well this time, which hopefully will prevent us getting overloaded. But we do have to be careful with these onslaughts particularly, because they have even more firepower than the Dominators. Bring in a Hammerhead and a couple of Medusas with our additional deployment points. And again, similar enemies to the last battle. We have Falcons, Gremlins and Brawlers. Managed to overload this first Falcon, and we will put the hurt in on him with Hurricane and then our beam weapons. We need to stay out of the range of that onslaught if we can. Just going to move away so we can use our plasma burn ability, keep out of the range of his cannons. We have an enforcer and another falcon. No, that's an eagle. Medusa and Monitor backing us up. Here comes the Omen. We managed to overload the enforcer and do some real damage to him with a hurricane. I just want to try and keep him in range until he's dead. There we go. So our frigates are coming in to surround the Eagle. I think we'll leave them to it actually, and we will turn our own attention to the onslaught. He's taking a few pot shots at our hammerhead, but not too difficult for him to back away. Fighters from the, well, fighter bombers from the Astral coming in, but most of them I think got taken down by the point defense of the onslaught. The rest of our fleet coming in now. We've got a couple of destroyers and some frigates supporting us. We're going to use this opportunity to try and flank the onslaught if we can get behind him and do damage to his engines. Here comes a bunch of torpedoes. Takes him down to about a third hull. We will just circle behind him. Okay, that's onslaught number 1 down. Here comes a Dominator. But again, on his own, not much he can do. I think Dominators, more than any other ship, are ships of the line. They need to be, a few frames, they need to be supported. They're tough to kill, but on their own, they're not that dangerous. So here's the 14th Battle Group Onslaught. He's got a gunship in support. He's gonna tank all of these torpedo shots in his shield, no problem. Medusas and Tempests surrounding him, driving up his flux. We're going to come in from behind. This little brawler's way out of his league. We will send a hurricane off against the onslaught. Hopefully that will damage his engines. I think I may have missed and just hit his port side armour. Tachyon Lance coming in now. High intensity laser. Just going to quickly switch to this brawler and see if we can finish him off. There he goes, the onslaught's engines have been knocked out. And there he goes. And that's another bounty completed. This one was 250,000 credits, so not a bad day's work. We will just send our first mate after their logistics ships, and we did actually manage to capture the standard onslaught, but I think we're going to just scrap that. It doesn't really suit our style of play at the moment, and it's not got the fancy paint job of the 14th Battle Group version. Now there is a large fleet over here, an invasion fleet, and that's the one that's going back to retake Yama. Now we were going to let it go, but having seen the fleet, I think it would be one we could take on quite easily. And I don't know if it's going to make a big difference to the hegemony to lose another fleet like this. I'm not exactly sure how the economy works in the Accelerating mod, but I figure each fleet I can destroy is only going to be a bonus for me. So I'm going to take it on. And actually, although I thought this was going to be an easy fight, being they only have the one onslaught, and the rest of the fleet not being that great, I'm actually going to lose a couple of ships here, which is a testament to how badly I was playing this episode. But we will take in the conquests, because I haven't flown one recently. We'll take in a couple of eagles and a couple of champions, along with some frigates. Not a couple of eagles, one eagle, one falcon. And I thought this would be an opportunity as well just to experiment with some slightly different editing techniques, some different transitions. I'm just going to kind of speed through this battle as quick as possible. So we make contact, and we immediately see two high priority targets, a Griffin missile cruiser on the left and a Mora strike carrier on the right, and we also see the onslaught is going to come in from the northern edge here. So we're going to have to back off a little bit. We don't want to get in the face of its guns, at least for too long. The main weakness of the Conquest is its terrible shield arc. We have actually improved that with a hull mod, but now we do see this champion kind of gets a little bit overextended, and he does suffer. You can see the damage that the Griffin missile cruiser can put out in a very short time. Hits him with a bunch of torpedoes, and then he actually gets finished off by the Onslaught's main cannons. So that was a little bit careless of him. We keep together with our Eagle, and we're trying to take on this Griffin while he's blocking the Conquest's firing arcs. He actually hits me with a Reaper I should have blocked. Second Reaper gets taken out by the flak cannons. We're actually going to switch and see if we can take on this Mora. He's hit us with a couple of Saber missiles, and we're going to respond in kind and actually overload him. And unfortunately we're blocking our Eagle from getting some beam weapons on target. We're also taking damage from the onslaught, and actually he almost finishes us off. If he had both of his cannons facing our way, luckily the Mora was blocking his left cannon. That could have been the end of the Conquest. So we're going to back off, and actually we're going to retreat this Conquest as it is so badly damaged, and hop into one of the champions instead. And then we're going to go after some of their smaller craft first before we take on the onslaught. So we're going to finish off this Condor light carrier, then we're going to take on this Falcon. Now we do see that our Eagle also gets into a bit of a sticky situation and also gets taken out by the onslaught. So some bad flying there from our officers. We're going to come in and take on this Mora. We'll finally finish it off. And then as you can see, we've actually brought on our Odyssey to replace the Conquest and help us take on the onslaught. So he's going to come around the back here and start laying into hurt. Luckily we can get behind it with our champion and really do some damage. And it doesn't take too long before we are able to overwhelm and destroy it. So that's another hegemony fleet defeated. And we will see if we can recover any of these ships. And we'll get back our champion and the 14th Battle Group Eagle. We'll leave the Tempest, we can get other Tempests, and we are running low on story points. And I think it's time for us to get out of here. We are being chased, either us or this other pirate fleet are being chased by a Luddic Church kill fleet, so we do want to get away from them as we're now a little bit damaged. So all we're going to do now is nip across to Yama, where that invasion fleet was headed, because we actually realised we forgot to pick up the spoils that we made when we invaded earlier. So we're going to collect them. We're also going to set off some of this cargo we don't need. We don't need this ore. It's going for not a bad price here. We will sell these organics as well. But we won't sell the drugs here. We'll in fact buy more because they're going really cheap. Buy another 200 grams worth of that. And we will get out of here. So I think we're going to head back to Asconia. I want to have a look at this Sindrian world that's now decivilized and see if we can in fact establish a colony there. Now I have actually run out of supplies here. I did not realise how low I was on supplies, and we did have to do some big repairs. We are still losing money per month, but hopefully that won't last for too long. So we're just going to hit all the storms we can on the way back and almost lose a Valkyrie, but we were able to save it. So we're going to drop into Volturn, which is next to this pirate world. We failed that mission, but that's fine. I don't actually think it would have been possible to complete that mission given how angry the Sindarians were. So we can explore these ruins and hopefully they'll have some good blueprints for us, as this was one of the core Sindarian worlds. And what do we find? We found a low-tech package. I'm not such a fan of these ship designs, but I do like some of the weapons there, especially the assault chain guns and the Vulcan cannons. So I think we will not create an outpost. I was just curious what that was, but we will go ahead and establish a colony now. The hazard rating is not going to be great here because it is decivilized and it does have pollution, but we also have lobster farms, we also have vast ruins, we have abundant organics, and it's a water world, but it's also habitable, so the hazard rating is not terrible, and I like the idea of having some ruins to explore. We can get a good tech mining industry going here. We can also maybe sell some Volturian lobster. However, more importantly, we have to name this world, and as pirates, I think there really is only one we can go for.
Tortuga.
So yes, welcome to the Pyro homeworld of Tortuga. We have to create a faction here, and I'm going to take as inspiration the most piratey looking flag on offer. And so I think we will have to be called the Screaming Skulls. And we're just going to sort out our little designations here. And there we are, we have our first colony. So we now have one full colony and one that we are just governing for the Pyro faction. And we are already building a spaceport. I think we're going to go ahead and queue up some ground defenses. And basically, until our spaceport is built, there's not much else we can do here. So we're just going to head off. And I think what we want to do is just do a quick loop and pick up all of our ships and weapons that are in other spaceports. So we're going to head off to Athulf and pick up what we have there. On the way, our spaceport does complete, so we're going to immediately upgrade that to a megaport. And then we're going to turn on freeport status, and we will also turn on hazard pay and stockpiles just to help the population growth of the colony. We are just arriving at Canny, our original home base, and we're just going to repair here and then pick up all of our stored weapons and gear. And we're going to take all this back to Tortuga and have that as our main base of operations. Some of these weapons we figure we may as well sell off, as we're not going to use them, and that will just make us a little bit of extra cash. Continuing on our route, we are now arriving at Athulf, that we are now governing. And we are going to pick up a couple of missions here, and including the possible location of a blueprint for an Odyssey battlecruiser, and that's this ship that I've been enjoying probably the most in this playthrough, so we're definitely going to take that, and we will see if we can get some heavy industry going on pretty soon on one of these colonies, so we can start producing our own Odysseys. For now though, we just want the colony to grow, so we're currently on 8% growth, which is not great, but hopefully will increase. I also see that this ground defense is not building, it seems to be disruptive for some reason, so I think we will just cancel that. And maybe go for, we could build agriculture, which would allow us to make Volturian lobster. I think tech mining would be a better initial choice, because then we can start combing through the ruins of the Sindrian world and their civilization and see if we can turn up some good blueprints. There are vast ruins on this planet, so we should get something at least. Back to Athulf though, our current location. We just want to pick up everything we have here, including some ships that we've stored. So we're going to take all this back to Tortuga, just so everything is in one place. We will just, I think, mothball these ships that we've picked up so that we don't have to bother crewing them or having the supplies and fuel necessary to bring them with us. We will also pick up all of these weapons. And again, there's probably some that we could sell here, but I'm not going to do that right now. So we will head back to Tortuga. I am pretty pleased with the progress we've made this episode, and I think this will be a good time to put a cut in and call it a day, and we will continue on next time. Now we have 2 worlds to look after, and only 2 more enemies to take down. And then we'll see if we have any other goals beyond that we want to pursue. But for now, thank you very much for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.